when you go to these places, we're not just going as tourists. We're going to these places of power really as pilgrims, where our hands are open, we're seeking wisdom, we're seeking spirit. And when we have this open heart, an open mind, and when we're looking to the spirit of the place, then we're able to gain what the place has to offer, which is power, energy, vision, insight, wisdom, views into different dimensions, opportunities. So it's really a wonderful thing, but we have to come as a pilgrim. When you're a pilgrim, you're in a disposition of humility and openness. I remember I was traveling in China, and I was in this Buddhist area, a number of mountains, but there was one called Wushaitan, and there was a lot of Buddhist monasteries around there, and a lot of spiritual temples and places of ancient Buddhist interest. But there was one place that I was visiting. It was the Kuan Yin temple, and it was a little temple, and you had to climb up a mountain to get there. And it was, a very small temple up there, but it was a place that was considered to be very, very holy. So I climbed this mountain, and it was very beautiful. And I went to the temple, and it was a very, very spiritual and holy place. Now, Wushaitan is also kind of a popular place. So people who are kind of like quasi-Buddhist tourists, they go there. So there were a few, tourists taking pictures, and stuff. And, they walked up there, they looked around, and, they bowed and stuff. And then they left. And then there was this, a monk. So a monk, he comes up, and he looked to me tired, like he had traveled a long way. There were a lot of monks from local temples, but he looked like, rough and rugged a little bit. He was a dirty monk. And so he got there, and then he had this, his eyes were wide open when he got there. And he was like, you could see that he had like faith and devotion for the place. And then he came to the main altar, and he bowed, prostrated himself in front of it. And then he sat, and then he had what I would call a spiritual experience. And he was like filled with light and wisdom. So later on, I was having lunch with the monks, and we were talking, and I said, oh, he was with wearing a different robe, and I said, oh, what temple are you from? And he named one, and it was from a different area, a couple thousand miles away. And he had a yearning to come to this temple. He heard about it, as even tourists might hear about it. And he heard about this place, and he said, I need to go there. So he was in a monastery further over in the west, and then he traveled 2,000 miles by foot. So he walked 2,000 miles to come to this area, and to come particularly to this temple. And then when he got to this temple, he had a spiritual experience, a vision, something that shifted his attention. And he wasn't a tourist. He had a very different disposition of spirit, of attention. So if you just are, coming to these things in a casual manner, you might miss it. So it's very important for you to realize that when we go to these places, we're going with the disposition of a pilgrim. We're seeking a greater wisdom. And in this disposition, in an open heart and an open mind, we don't just see the physical place, we see what the spirit of the place has to offer. Yeah. And we transform. So this monk who came from afar, he had a powerful transformation. And the tourists, they really didn't, but they had pictures to put on their social media. So it depends what you're looking for. And when we go to these places, we're looking for transformation. We're looking for, we want to change our condition from a condition of being stuck or limited or suffering. We want to transform into a higher way, a brighter way.